أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أولئك جزاؤهم مغفرة من ربهم وجنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها ونعم أجر العاملين قد خلت من قبلكم سنن فسيروا في الأرض فانظروا كيف كان عاقبة المكذبين هذا بيان للناس وهدى وموعظة للمتقين صدق الله العظيم. This is verse number 136 and 137 and 38 of Surah Al-Imran. In previous verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated that paradise has been prepared for the God-fearing people. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a detailed explanation of the God-fearing people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated the qualities and the attributes of the God-fearing people in order to show the people, in order to make the people aware that who are the real God-fearing people and who are not. So now, through the signs and the qualities, good qualities of God-fearing, we can identify, we can differentiate between the God-fearing and between the wrongdoers or between the hypocrites. So now, in this present verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states that those, meaning the God-fearing people, are those their reward is forgiveness from their Lord. Meaning, as a reward for these qualities, Allah will forgive them. If, as being the nature of mankind, that sometime by mistake a person commits sins, so Allah says that if people have such qualities, like they control the anger, they forgive the people, they do good to other people, and they do not commit sins continuously, so Allah says that for such people there is the reward as forgiveness from their Lord. Meaning, Allah will forgive them, Allah will forgive their sins, and Allah says that for them there is the gardens with rivers flowing underneath, meaning gardens, for them there is forgiveness from their Lord, and for them is the gardens with beneath which rivers flow, and they shall live there forever. Allah will admit them into paradise because they had these good qualities. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises paradise, that وَنِعْمَ أَجْرُ الْعَامِلِينَ, how excellent is this reward for the doers, for those who work. Meaning, paradise is the very highest place, is the very luxurious station for the people who do good works. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praised the paradise, and Allah has created paradise for the God-fearing people. In the second verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that many similar ways of the people passed before you, meaning a number of behavior patterns passed before you, meaning there were people who followed their prophets, and there were other prophets who rejected their prophets. So Allah says many similar ways or misshapes of life were faced before you. The previous nations who followed their prophets before you, they too suffered losses. So actually, from these verses again Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states the story of Battle of Uhud. In the previous verses Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated the story of Uhud. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the issue of entrust usury. Now again Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states the wisdom behind the losses Muslims suffered during the Battle of Uhud. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that yes, O believers, if you suffered injuries, if you suffered like fatalities, so yes, previous people, previous nations also suffered. They followed their prophets and they suffered losses. So however, the good end was theirs and the ultimate defeat was for the disbelievers. So similarly, if you receive any injury, some of you are killed in the way of Allah, just like happened in the Battle of Uhud, so don't worry about this, don't grieve, don't be sad, because Allah changed the situation. Sometime Allah gave victory to disbeliever also. Allah states the wisdom behind this. Allah says that Allah rotates days among the people. Sometime Allah gives victory to the believers, sometime Allah gives victory to the disbelievers, so that Allah knows, Allah tests that who is patient for Allah, who tolerate all difficult situation for the sake of Allah. So but Allah says that yes, one thing keep in mind, that travel through the earth and traverse the land and see that what was the end of those people who rejected the prophets. This is the clear thing, that Allah has destroyed the disbelievers, Allah has destroyed those people who rejected the prophets and who belied the prophets. So yes, there will be two situations. Sometime you will get victory, sometime disbeliever will get victory, but the end, the ultimate end will be for the believers. They will receive victory. So Allah says, هَذَا بَيَانٌ لِلنَّاسِ. This is a declaration, this is a plain statement for mankind. The Quran explains the true reality of things and narrates how the previous nations suffered by the hands of their enemies. So Allah says that not you, O Muslim, you fought a battle with the disbeliever during the Battle of Uhud. But if you study the history of previous people, so they also fought battles along with their prophets. So, but they were steadfast in the battlefield. So now, O believers, you have to be steadfast in the battlefield. وَهُدًى وَمَوْعِظَةً. Allah says this Quran is a guidance for you people. It will provide guidance to your hearts. وَمَوْعِظَةً. And this Quran is an instruction, is a lesson for the God-fearing people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that don't worry, don't grieve, don't be sad about the situation which happened during the Battle of Uhud. No, Allah is fully aware of what you suffered, of injuries, of fatalities, of like some of you 70 people were killed among you. Allah is fully aware, but only Allah tests you that who is sincere, who is hypocrite, who is patient and who is not patient. So this is the summary of these three verses. Ulaika jazaohum. Their reward is forgiveness. Ulaika means those are the ones. Jazaohum, their reward is forgiveness min rabbihim, from their Lord. Wa jannatun, and gardens. Tajri min tahtiha al-anharu, beneath which rivers flow خالدين فيها, they where they shall live forever. وَنِعْمَ أَجْرُ الْعَامِلِينَ, and how excellent is the reward of those who do work. قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ سُنَنٌ, many patterns of behavior have passed before you. فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُكَذِّبِينَ, travel through the land and see, فَانْظُرُوا, and see, كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُكَذِّبِينَ, what was the fate of those, what was the end of those who rejected, who belied, who denied, meaning the prophets. هَذَا بَيَانٌ لِلنَّاسِ, this is a declaration, a open statement, لِلنَّاسِ, for mankind. Qur'an explains clearly everything. That you suffered injuries, yes, but in previous time other people also suffered these things, so they were steadfast, they did not lose heart, so now you also have to be steadfast. وَهُدًى, this is a guidance, وَمَوْعِظَةٌ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, a lesson for the God-fearing people. Again, أُولَٰئِكَ, those are the ones, جَزَاؤُهُمْ, their reward is مَغْفِرَةٌ, forgiveness, مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ, from their Lord, وَجَنَّاتٌ, and gardens, تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ, beneath which rivers flow, أُولَٰئِكَ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا, where they shall live, where they shall abide forever. وَنِعْمَ أَجْرُ الْعَامِلِينَ, and how excellent is the reward of those who work. قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ سُنَنٌ, many patterns of behavior have passed before you. فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُكَذِّبِينَ, so traverse the land, فَانْظُرُوا, and see, كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُكَذِّبِينَ, how was the fate or end of those who rejected, who belied, who denied, meaning the prophets. هَذَا بَيَانٌ لِلنَّاسِ, this is, meaning Quran, is a declaration, an open statement, لِلنَّاسِ, for mankind, وَهُدًى, and guidance, وَمَوْعِظَةٌ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, and a lesson, instruction for the God-fearing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says أُولَٰئِكَ, أُولَٰئِكَ means those. If you remember, I have taught you that هذا means this, ذَلِكَ means that. So هؤلاء means these, أُولَٰئِكَ means those. أُولَٰئِكَ, those, meaning those mentioned people, جَزَاؤُهُمْ, jaza, reward, hum, their reward. Their reward is مغفرة, forgiveness, مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ, from their Lord, min, from, Rab, Lord, hum, their Lord, وَجَنَّاتٌ, and gardens, تَجْرِي, flow, مِنْ تَحْتِهَا, beneath which, al-anharu, rivers, خَالِدِينَ, they shall live, فِيهَا, where, or therein. وَنِعْمَ means an excellent, أَجْرُ الْعَامِلِينَ, the reward of those who do work. Amilin, doers. Amilin is the plural form of amil. Amil means a doer person, a person who do or who work. So Allah says, وَنِعْمَ أَجْرُ الْعَامِلِينَ, and excellent is the reward, ajr, reward, amilin, of those who work or of doers. قَدْ خَلَتْ, قَدْ خَلَتْ means have passed, min qablika, before you, sunanun, many patterns of behavior. So many patterns of behaviors have passed, min qablikum, before you. Fasiru, fa, so, siru means travel or traverse, fil ardi, the land or through the earth. Fanzuru, fa, then see, Then unzuru, see, kaifa kana, how was or what was the end or fate, aqibat, end of mukaththibin, of those who rejected, who denied, meaning the prophets. Hada, this is bayanun, a declaration, a open statement, linnasi, for mankind, wahudan, and guidance, wa maw'izatun, and a lesson, instruction, lilmuttaqin, for the God fearing. Again, ulaika, mean those, meaning those people who mentioned before. Jazauhum, their reward. Jaza, reward. Hum, their reward. Maghfiratun is forgiveness. Mir rabbihim, from their Lord. Min, from rabbihim, their Lord. Rabb, Lord. Wajannatun, and gardens. Tajri, flow. Min tahtiha, beneath which. Al anharu, rivers. Khalidina, they shall live there. Fiha, therein. Wa ni'ma ajrul amilin, and excellent is the reward. Ni'ma, excellent, ajru, reward, al amilin, of those who work, who do. Qad khalat, have passed. Min qablikum, before you. Sunanun, many patterns of behavior. Fasiru, faso, siru, travel or traverse through the earth, fil ard, through the earth or the land. Fanzuru, then see, kaifa kana aqibatul mukaththibin, what was the fate, what was the end of those mukaththibin who rejected. Mukaththibin is the plural form of mukaththib. Mukaththib means a person who rejects, a person who denies, means whom they denied. They rejected the prophets. So this is the meaning of these words.